Hello and welcome to the Saladcast, sort of Crimbo Limbo special on the 27th of December. It's Friday, 2013. We're still in 2013, and I'm your host Dan Train, and joining me, Robert Kemp.
It is a Friday. Wow.
I know. Yeah. It's been like a week since the last Friday. It's amazing.
Good God.
Because that's when the day I had off work, indeed. And all the other associated days that you needed to take during your time.
And we classically have half a day on the last Friday of the year at work, and the other half is boozing.
Boozing!
Yeah.
And Zachary Burgess is here too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a day off on Friday.
You could call it that. Over the Christmas periods, I've been even more lazy, I guess. Because there's been no one there to even interact with in the virtual sense. They've all been away doing things.
Everyone in your online communities have all been busy with family shit. So you've.
Although it's always funny to log into Eve literally on Christmas Day, and it's there's still 20 people undocking from this station.
What are they doing?
The normal Eve things that everyone does.
So they're the hardest of the hardcore play Eve.
Well, you can't. There's some things that you have to log in to do. Maintain your shit. Christmas doesn't wait for Eve.
Christmas waits for no man. Indeed.
Or Eve waits for no Christmas.
I understand that because it was noticeable, on Reddit, that clearly no one normal was around. It was all these really sad, lonely people who were on there commiserating each other that their girlfriends had just dumped them or something on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's the worst.
But it's there's nothing to do after you've eaten and you're with your family and stuff. So I was obviously on my phone on Reddit. There must have been millions of people who were with family and doing normal Christmas stuff, being bored because there's just endless Christmas movies on TV. And it's what are you going to do?
Endless Christmas movies. That was the problem. It was kind of shitty.
Yeah, that was Harry. They've been OTV have been showing.
They've been showing all of Harry Potter.
I watched those.
Lead up, yeah.
I don't know why, but I watched those again.
Not very Christmassy. Exactly.
No, they had Toy Story. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
BBC had Toy Story. I watched Toy Story 3 again. I'd seen that.
Why not show Chicken Run again? Because apparently they still have the license for that.
Well, why not? That's pretty good. That's a bit weird. Did they actually show The Great Escape? Because that's the actual Christmas film.
Know.
That for some reason World War II is Christmassy for no reason, despite the fact it has nothing to do with
the
Christmas.
Dad's Army film.
Oh yeah,
yesterday.
Yeah,
and I suppose Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is at Christmas.
It's really grim.
Part 2, not.
They're so grim the whole way through, and it's dark, literally dark. As in everything on the screen is dark.
Because they're in forests
and they hang around in tents.
Night
everything is So that was depressing, but yeah.
I think I like that film more than I originally did. I think every time I watch it, I find it slightly better.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, the first part's all right. Yeah. I thought they would...
I remember when I first saw it, that whole pacing of them wandering about for ages with the tent. Yeah. That felt so long.
Well, it was really long in the book. It was worse in the book. God damn it.
Ridiculous.
It took forever. And it's and I didn't understand why after because originally Harry Potter was always a bit derivative. It was good, but it was a bit derivative of other works and stuff. Right. But in this one, by this point, it's the last book or whatever, and she's going, okay, I'll have a magical object that is evil, and you have to wear on your person to protect it, but it corrupts you and it makes you and it's like a burden, and you have to share it between you because otherwise you get really pissed off with it.
I know.
It's
I know. I'll call this particular book the Harry Potter.
The Harry Potter.
The Harry Potter.
It's why do that right at the end when you I mean she had a bunch of original I thought the Horcrux thing was quite a cool idea.
Yeah.
You didn't have to make it like the Ring.
Well, I mean, what else were you going to do, really? I mean, there's not very many ways to fit other tropes in with it's
that's true.
She basically made, because there's 7 of them or whatever. It's you give it multiple opportunities to cover every aspect.
That's true.
So they had the Ring one, and then they had the living one.
Yeah, the living one. Because they had the retroactively, what's it called? Retconned. The diary was one.
Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of evil and changed your mind and stuff.
And that they, the sort of. I don't know, some of that film seems a bit clumsy, and maybe that's because I don't understand the bigger picture as well as a lot of people, why the sword just sort of turns up. I know that's kind of
magical!
I know,
but it's because he's a Gryffindor, I guess.
Yeah, and you can only get the sword when you're a Gryffindor.
But why doesn't it appear somewhere convenient? Why does it appear at the bottom of an icy fucking lake?
Because it's like Galadriel, or the Lady of the Lake. Not Galadriel, what's her name? What is her name, the Lady of the Lake, in the Arthurian legend.
I can't remember.
The Excalibur's the sword, right?
Yeah.
And the lady's
Yeah.
just called the lady. Yeah. But she pulls the sword out of the lake, right, and gives it to
Yeah.
Arthur. So it must be like a reference. Or
Maybe.
whatever.
Yeah. But it just seemed a bit weird. It's just like, oh, we just need a scene where Ron can come back in dramatic fashion and sort of get Harry strangled. Well, he goes into the water.
Yeah, well, no, I remember that bit, but why the sword was even there. The Phoenix dropped it.
Well, there's that.
What falls the Phoenix little dive bomb?
Well, because they already had the Phoenix deliver the sword before when it comes
That's
out
true,
of the
that's
hand.
true.
But what was the Doe Patronus about? Because that charm leads him to the lake where he sees the sword glimmering under the water.
Is
But
He's crazy.
the Patronus is just like represents his dad, doesn't it? Because he has the same
No,
Patronus
the
as his
Doe,
dad.
I think, is his mum.
Oh, the doe's his mum.
Yeah.
I think.
That makes sense.
He's just
Because he shares his dad's as the same.
it's
Right.
hypothermia, and he's crazy.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Basically.
I guess. Yeah. He just hallucinates it, and conveniently it's the right place.
Well, it's because of magic. So
Because of magic!
magic hallucinations are actually useful instead of just crazy.
So yes, Harry Potter automatically Christmassy. That makes sense.
'Cause
Because
it's snow.
it's got snow.
It's got snow. It's true. They talked about Christmas Eve and shit in that film. So
Yeah, they do.
So yes, Christmas.
Because they have one of those moments where they just hear people in a church and go, oh, it must be Christmas Eve. And it's like, really? Really? What does that mean? It's automatically...
Pretty much. I mean,
It
in the modern
makes
world,
somewhat sense. Yeah.
how many other oftentimes are there people singing in a church
Well, in
at
the
night?
context of the way... Well, I don't know. Like, if you went to like an evening service now, it would probably be dark. Therefore, it would be night. And therefore, there'd be people singing in the church. It would just be any day.
That's true. That's true.
Unless they'd like, the bit.
If it's literally midnight, it's
yeah,
more likely
if they
to be
had
Christmas
some
Eve.
way, if they had told the audience in some way that it was approaching midnight or something, or subtly without them doing what they normally do, and someone just go, "Oh look, it's midnight."
Would the church have like a clock tower or something? I mean, come on.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
All you need is one shot of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Had it
Just a passing pan over it, just like over the town.
Yeah, they came into Lebanon.
and some bongs. Is it Lebanon?
Yeah, it's Lebanon.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Little, what's it called? Not Little Whinging. Godric's Hollow
Yeah,
is Lebanon.
Yeah.
That
I
makes
think-
sense.
think so.
It looked like Lebanon. Okay.
And then it was.
And then it was.
Solved.
So yes, also Christmassy, apparently, according to ITV, the crappy Star Wars prequels.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Oh,
they've just been
something.
showing all the Star Wars as well. Like
I didn't
they've
see
been
any of
showing Harry
the
Potter's.
original ones.
Well, yeah,
Good
it
ones.
was kind of weird that they decided to show all of the prequels just basically pretty much
Yeah.
all on one day. Just
And what's more,
pile them on.
Stephen noticed that they were showing the Blu-ray edition, obviously, of Phantom Menace because it has retroactively added CG Yoda rather than the crappy puppet. Because they had because they had like a shit puppet that was 10 times worse than the original puppet for no reason.
I don't remember.
And then they replaced it with CG.
when does he
CG
turn up?
Yoda.
I didn't know they did that.
What, in Phantom Menace?
Yeah, is it just right at the end where they're in the
Yeah, it's like a
parade?
talk at the end.
And
But
then
he's
he turns
also
up and
in.
says some shit to everyone.
But he's in like the Jedi Council. Don't they have a talk with the council?
I
Like,
don't really remember the council in one.
I think they were in it.
Oh, no,
They were
yeah.
like, you
they
guys
had to
go
take
back.
Anakin
and-
Skywalker.
Yeah,
They had to
Yeah.
take the message and be like,
yeah,
midichlorians, holy fuck.
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. No, you're right. I do remember that now.
So they retro did Yoda.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
So
being
that's
really
fine.
Because he was on that hover platform, wasn't he? In that one. Is that the one
I
where
think that was
Yoda's
later.
hovering around, or is that episode 2?
No, that is,
Yeah,
that's
he's
one of
walking
the,
in
Okay.
episode 1, I believe.
Yeah, or sitting on that chair.
Yeah, or sitting on a chair.
The hover platform.
I don't know if they CG'd the female.
Yeah, the other Yoda.
person. Yeah, I didn't see that part, but yeah, that film's done. But and then Attack of the Clones, triple done.
Yeah, but it's the entertaining kind of dumb.
Yeah, that one I don't. I
It's
quite like
a
some of it.
stupid film, but it's actually the sequences are pretty great.
I like the city, the Coruscant, like the Blade Runner ripoff. I thought they did that quite well. There needs to be more Blade Runner ripoffs in general.
And everyone likes crazy. Well, I don't know about everyone likes it, but I'm a fan of that stupid mind layer noise.
Oh, that's
Wow.
that's a classic. Sound design in all of the prequels is really good. In fact,
Well, I'm not so sure. Some of the scenes, like during the big fight in Phantom Menace, are kind of dumb. Like the sound of the big blue balls bouncing around. I didn't.
yeah.
A lot of the Phantom Menace's sound design is very cartoony. Like, is it Team Toe's pod?
Yeah.
That when it crashes, just goes boo.
They probably would actually make that noise though.
No, but it sounds like someone with like what are those silly whistles?
Yeah,
Penny whistle, yeah. Slide, yeah.
The slide whistles, yeah. It just sounds like someone going woo, one of those.
Like an overexcited clanger.
Yeah.
I saw a dramatic, like, full map of the Star Wars galaxy where someone had laid out where the systems actually were.
Well, the exciting part's in the outer rim, right?
Yeah, but then it like in 2 where he's like, why isn't Anakin on Tatooine? And his message, no, it's like, why is Anakin where I told him to say he's on Tatooine for some reason? I need to relay this message.
Yeah,
and it's like. The only reason that is even possible, because he was using, like, a wideband search or whatever to find him. And it's like, the only reason that happened is because, in actual fact, according to this map, it's like Tatooine and Geonosis are actually right next to each other. It's like the next star along.
How would he have much more luck on Tatooine getting to a message to Coruscant?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it was a very good relay
He was
space.
being jammed, maybe, by the Geonosians.
Yeah, maybe.
But then the Geonosians are complaining about being jammed by the Republic or whatever. It's like, oh, whatever.
Everyone's jamming everyone.
Jam all the way. So yes, the purpose of this short podcast
Let's talk about Christmas.
is to talk about Christmas.
Might not be a short podcast at this rate.
Well, we decided we're going to do our Game of the Year deliberations in long form in our next full-blown podcast, which will be episode 100 of the Saladcast.
Woo!
Woo!
We're just making excuses to make that happen, basically. That's what this podcast's for.
Indeed. But we thought since the new generation of consoles has launched, that we should take some time and reflect on the past 8 or so years in gaming.
Or in other words, maybe the last 4 because we won't remember shit past then.
Yeah, well, look back to your launch games and remember how awesome they were.
How do you want to organise this? Because we could just do like by time, but I think it might be better spent like doing it by platform.
I think we should start throwing out game names and like maybe note them down.
There's just a list off every game you can remember in the last 8 years.
But that you think are like worthy of like of
well, we should still do it by platform though.
Yeah, by platform.
Because the platforms had a lot of moments that a lot of the games that I guess we'll talk about here may have been important, but they might not have necessarily been the best games over the course of the generation, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Because the immediate thought for me is if we're talking about, say, the 360 from the start, it's just how big a deal games like Geometry Wars and PGR3 were. In terms of impact. I mean, PGR3 doesn't necessarily hold up that well today, but it's... And I guess as a game structure, it probably wasn't as hot as PGR2.
No, it was kind of... But it's similar syndrome to Forza 5. It's like, okay, launch game, we've got to up all the graphics. We've got to work really hard, but we've also got zero time because it's got to launch on this date. So we've got to cut down the game.
As a visual showcase, both Geometry Wars and PGR3 just knocked it out of the park. It's like, hey, here guys, here's what your console can now do.
Yeah,
it's like bananas.
And it is still bananas. To the point where you're kind of disappointed this time.
I guess. Well, but the jump is smaller this time, and it's probably going to be like that from now on, maybe, because,
I expect so.
So we were just talking about the 360 now. I thought we were going to do the easy ones first, like the Wii.
Let's do the Wii. Okay.
Right, yeah. Well, no, I was using that as an example about where conversations may go.
Nintendo Wii. So... The bold experiment in motion control that sold truckloads mysteriously.
Yeah.
It sort of took... Well, the weird thing about the Wii's sales history was that it was mostly people buying the console and then never buying any more games for it.
Just playing Wii Sports.
Just for Wii Sports.
That could be a game of the entire generation if you thought about it in terms of... This probably might be one of the most influential... It's probably it's the best-selling game of the generation, isn't it?
Well, it was a pack-in.
Well, there you go.
Well, yeah, you didn't have much choice. I don't think there was a version of the Wii that didn't come with it.
Well,
throughout
much later. I think there was one just that, most recent before the Wii U came out.
Right.
They got rid of it in that one.
Oh, when they actually started doing bundle deals, you mean that maybe they weren't?
I think so.
Because they did a Mario Kart bundle at one point, and I think that was the first actual bundle they did, wasn't it? It was when Mario Kart came out.
Yeah.
I think I read that Wii Sports was the first Nintendo game to outsell Super Mario Brothers.
Wow. Okay, that's
by being attached to the console. That doesn't count.
Yeah, fair enough.
It is. Yeah, it's weird when they put it like that. But then in a way, Wii Sports I sort of end up going around in circles in my own head on this one, because in a way, yeah, I kind of agree with you that it's kind of a cheap statistic when you're saying that every Wii console had a copy of Wii Sports, therefore everyone who bought the sales of Wii Sports could have been unnaturally inflated, I suppose. But at the same time, I think it's relatively reasonable to say that everyone bought a Wii on the basis of Wii Sports.
It certainly had a big, it was the biggest flagship for motion control, which was the new thing.
And it was probably the only game that actually did it kind of well.
Did it well, right?
Yeah.
And Wii Sports Resort did it, even further. And took that even further. I mean, it seems like
with an expensive upgrade to Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah.
Which is going to be the problem if I ever decided to get a Wii U, is that none of the remotes I have are Plus, and I'd have to get the little adapters to make them work.
Do they?
It's not if you ever decide.
Well, it's inevitable.
It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking getting one, but yeah, that's how it goes.
Apparently, you can still get the attachment.
Yeah.
Oh, can you? Okay, that's cool.
And I'm sure they'll come up on eBay, that kind of stuff. It's not. They're not going to, be impossible to get hold of. But it's still kind of annoying that they. I suppose that's the same with any kind of revision halfway through a generation that actually makes a difference. It's
That's still irrelevant to us because we don't need we need Pro controllers for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, true. Actually, have to buy. They can't use GameCube controllers anymore.
Yeah,
really, but irregardless,
it seems like Wii Sports had kind of a potential to be like a gateway drug. And and you'd think people who bought a Wii who didn't care about games, but they'd seen this new motion control thing, and then they played Wii Sports, really liked it. They might go on to play Mario, and then at that point, that's it. They're gamers.
Yeah, but
that didn't actually happen.
There was only they were only in for motion control, and then nothing else did any good motion control.
No.
Yeah, that was exactly the problem. The Wii was one of these bastions of inspiration, supposedly. It came out and it was like, oh wow, we can do all of this stuff anymore. But no, actually what Nintendo proved is that you can do all of this stuff and not a lot else. They basically showed you everything that you could possibly do with the Wii controller.
Exactly, that's it. That's the tech demo, but it's more than a tech demo because it was a good game, and that a lot of people had a lot of fun with.
Yeah, but I mean, things didn't really go much further than that.
They couldn't really.
Even the better games, I suppose, it devolved into just being used as the pointer. Which wasn't always for the best. Or
it didn't work for your first-person game, so yeah.
Or QuickTime events.
Or even your sword simulator, that didn't work.
I mean, I quite enjoyed Mad World as a game, but it's but even that turned all of the motion controls just became QuickTime event, waggle to do this, waggle to shove your chainsaw there, kind of actions.
So, given that's the Wii and its motion controls, let's go to the actual best games on the Wii, which probably have nothing to do with motion controls. So we've got
Smash Brothers, which is you play that with GameCube controllers.
Obviously. So we've got Smash Brothers here.
And pretty much, Smash Brothers is up there on the virtue of it being, well, for us, possibly the most fun thing that they released on it. And,
on the Wii.
And also has to rank incredibly highly on time spent.
Naturally.
Because it's a time sink for us. It's just, you start playing it. It's very, very, very hard to call that moment where it's like, I just want, I can't play anymore. My eyelids are actually fused together with sleep.
Other contenders, we've got Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
I guess, can we only say the first one for that? Because I don't think any of us really played 2.
I didn't like the idea of 2. Because it was a cheap and added content. It wasn't really a new game.
People say it is, if you put the 2 side by side, that it is the better one, but for lazy sequel reasons, I suppose maybe it's...
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't... It would... I can understand why it didn't hold the gravitas at the time.
And Yoshi was done.
Is Yoshi always done?
Not always.
Not always. Not when you're making the focus of the game, like in Super Mario World 2.
Yeah.
It's
the only good. That's really the only good time.
Well, yeah.
And then they fucked that up with the new one that's coming out.
Did they?
The graphics and...
Oh yeah, but they've based the new one on Yoshi's story.
Well, sort of. It's they tried to mash the 2 styles together and just made a shit version of both.
So what other shit we got on the Wii? There were 2 Zelda games, but I feel like Twilight Princess is actually a GameCube game that they shoehorned into.
I know what you mean, but I can't imagine playing it without the Wii controls.
Really?
Yeah, I thought they worked.
It's so pointless and just like...
I don't know, aiming the crossbow.
wiggle your wrist occasionally.
I don't know, aiming the bow was kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's not really necessary.
No, maybe you're right. But they did things like they in the sense that they did a lot of stuff with the sound coming from the Wiimote, and
also not really necessary.
not necessary, but it kind of added to the experience. It was kind of cool.
Twilight Princess is a weird one because it's like Ocarina of Time everybody loved, and then Wind Waker came out and everyone was like, what the fuck is this Zelda business?
Yeah.
At the time. And then they were like, oh, well, so you just wanted another Ocarina that's like in that spirit, but a little bit more grown up, whatever. You didn't want this cartoony shit. Okay, we'll make you this Twilight Princess. And then everyone's like, actually, Wind Waker was the awesomest.
I don't get it because I'm still really behind Twilight. I think Twilight was a hell of a game.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the one. I guess I'm not the one to really talk much about Zelda because Twilight Princess is the only one I've finished.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that says something, and that I've played a reasonable number of the Zelda games, and for me to actually finish one carries weight.
It says something. That's your Zelda. I mean,
played a reasonable number of the Zelda games.
I played quite a lot of Ocarina, but never finished it. I played a bit of Majora, never finished it. Okay, I barely started Wind Waker because that initial segment pissed me off so much, but I've tried to play a few.
Maybe played 3.
And I have tried to play some of the 2D ones, but never got into it like enough. And not for any real reason, I guess. I just never really stuck with it long enough. I don't really have a problem with them. I just never stuck with them.
Yeah. I had to play 3D Zelda before I gave 2D Zelda a chance.
I mean, yeah, I would love to.
You didn't really have a choice.
I had the choice. I could have played. I had Link to the Past on my deluxe color Game Boy.
Or the
Color.
GBC.
Yeah.
I would quite like to actually go back and play one of those sometime. You know, but just
you can play the brand new one, right?
Exactly.
That's 2D.
I've just never got around to it. That's it. That's all it is.
But you can't play the brand new one because it's on 3DS.
And it's far too expensive. At 40 quid. But yeah,
Buy it at a shit shop.
Yeah, grab an emulator, grab yourself Link to the Past, I guess, and then
Oracle of Ages or Seasons.
Yeah, Zach's favourite.
Well, I like Link to the Past as well.
Did you play Minish Cap?
I tried once, but I didn't get very far into it.
Okay.
Was that the one with the that's Spirit Tracks with the train?
Yeah, that's the.
That's the one I always forget about Spirit Tracks. It's a weird
dumb.
one. Yeah,
dumb and weird.
But that's the thing. Majora's Mask was mental and weird. Like compared to Ocarina, it was bonkers weird.
I don't know.
But it kind of stands out.
It wasn't that much.
Yeah, exactly. It does stand out. It's become like a kind of cult classic now because it's kind of it's a strange one.
And I can never forget Dingo.
Yeah, exactly.
But that would have been better if it didn't have if it was a bit more forgiving with its mechanics.
Yeah,
it was a bit hardcore.
It was a bit hardcore.
Twilight Princess is my jam. Has to be said. There was something resonated about the feel of that game.
It was a straight down the middle proper Zelda game.
Yeah,
that was really well made.
There was something about the aesthetic, the fact that they went that slightly bloomy look to things.
Yeah.
And I liked Link's character design in it, and the wolf was cool. Midna was kind of fun.
Yeah,
it was. I don't know. Everything balanced really well, and it never had one of those long, awkward middle sections. It was just an incredibly well-paced, incredibly well-structured game. And it's
so. Let's put up Zelda versus Mario here on the Wii.
What?
Oh no!
Why are we stopping with this?
No. In general, I'm just saying who in the rankings.
Oh.
Smash Brothers is probably still at the top here.
It's going to be hard to top that. Yeah. Let's be honest.
But where would you place Twilight versus Mario Galaxy?
Something about Galaxy never grabbed me. I liked it, but I never found myself wanting to go back to it. When I was playing it, I thought it was great. But
it was like
it
was mechanics and not. It was like for some reason, even though like in 64 you're fucking jumping into paintings and there's just these goddamn floating islands in space.
Yeah.
Somehow Galaxy felt even less coherent. Where it's just like random planetoids floating around for no reason.
It's like every time
literally no reason because it's just like you just go there.
I don't know. I had the other experience. Like every time I played it, I was impressed. Every time they introduced in slightly, like a bespoke level, like the one level that did something different. Even the frickin' B level, I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And you're just like, they're doing a lot of stuff, but for some reason I just never got to that stage where I was putting the disc in my Wii and actually choosing to play it. I don't know why that is. And there's something about that, and I didn't. Twilight, I just basically went through it. I wasn't really playing anything else when I was going through that. I didn't drift, except for after played TF2. But,
Naturally. Spoilers.
Yeah.
That bit comes later.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else was there? I was looking at Rob's shelf.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say Metroid Prime 3 because that was.
One was the best.
While it's not as good as the first Metroid Prime, I'd probably even go as far as say I don't think it's as good as Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah, maybe.
But it is still a very good game. And it was a nice wrap to that sort of story arc, if you can call it an arc. I suppose there was never really that much of a surrounding story to the Prime series, but it felt like a bit of a conclusion, even if. I don't know. Perhaps the inclusion of voice acting maybe ruined some of the feel, which sounds dumb, but I don't think the pointing and the actual control was that bad.
It was just like there was other people. That's what ruined it.
Yeah,
as soon as there was any other characters,
it's like
just you by yourself and Ridley.
Yeah, they took a big risk with that, and I'm not sure it 100% paid off because it's the atmosphere of Metroid is being alone.
And then they proceeded to shit that up even more when they made the stupid.
Oh yeah, but Nintendo. Let's not forget Nintendo went behind that. That's Team Ninja being Team Ninja and being slow.
Oh right, yeah,
being
that's
kind
hilarious.
of dicks.
Yeah, other
Yeah.
So it covers.
Oh, yeah, yes. Well, how did I forget that?
Is that really competing with your Zeldas?
It's pretty.
Probably competing with the Zeldas. Don't know about the Smash Brothers.
It's a pretty great game.
Yeah.
Sonic Colors is pretty great. It's another one of those games where I keep thinking to myself, I really should go back and play it again.
Totally.
And it's
play the good levels.
Yeah.
Load up your saves so you don't have to play all the shit.
Well, I might just do one of those because it has like a direct assault style mode where it's like play every stage in one go like a proper Sonic game.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe giving that a try.
And then the other thing I saw when I was looking at the shelf, not going to win, but hilarious, Excite Truck!
Oh,
shit, yeah.
The dumb launch game of insanity.
Well, that was one of the... But that kind of... Excite Truck is another one of those games that I think sort of almost showed off what the Wii should have been about.
Yeah, and just hilarious fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Motion controls that worked.
Yeah, they were. Well, they weren't precise. None of that game was precise.
No.
But it was good enough to make it super enjoyable. And it's
kind of the equivalent of your smartphone doodle jumps or ridiculous fishing.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it suffered from being kind of presentationally off in a weird way.
Well, it was like a classic kind of shitty game presentation.
Yeah.
Where it's just like menus of poop and
it was quite B
graphics aren't that great,
which is weird for like a first party Nintendo title.
Yeah,
it's like it was kind of B tier feel, but it was just so much fun. Finding stupid tree runs, taking the middle route when there is nothing there, and seeing if you can survive. It's freaking hilarious.
Yep.
It's like I can only imagine what that game would have been had it been like slightly more than. Well, because we only ever really played it in 2-player mode, but I don't know. Did it support up to 4, or did it only have a 2?
No, I think it was only 2.
Yeah, because that game must have been much better with more players, all jumping around like crazy fools.
I don't know. Maybe,
but I don't know. Maybe that's worth revisiting. I don't know. It was fun. We probably
we
as I
tried
say about a lot of
revisiting
games, we sunk too much time. We sunk more time into that game than I think it deserved. But
we tried revisiting it once not that long ago, and then discovered that, of course, we're shit at it now.
Yeah, yeah. We got so good at just precisely because there was a sort of timing element because of the way the controls sort of worked and how floaty they were. You kind of had to preempt what it was you had to do.
Well, and then it was like the trick of actually getting the spins and stuff to work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you had to rock it at a certain speed to get it to pick it up, right? And
yeah.
You couldn't just go with your hands because it just wouldn't like that.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a fun game. Kind of an important moment in selling us on the Wii, I suppose. I sort of want to bring up Monkey Ball. Not because I think it was a great game.
GameCube versions of that were there as well.
Yes, agreed. But in terms of as a motion control showcase, it had everything into both the good and the bad. because it had some examples of how you could do motion control really well for some of its mini games. And then some examples of how really not to do it. Like some of the games were just weird, like the ones where you're jumping around as a frog and like bending the controller in some weird contortionist fashion to try and get your frog to run in a straight line or something. It was some really bizarre stuff in that. But there was a lot of bizarre stuff, so it was okay.
That's Monkey Ball in a nutshell, really.
Yeah.
Most hilarious thing of the Wii generation: Sonic and the Secret Rings mini games.
Yeah. Well, that whole game was kind of an oddity because
it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It was like an average sort of with the actual game part of it.
Yeah, there was it was one of those games that sort of perhaps said that maybe Sonic Team could move in a different direction and pull it off. This wasn't it, but perhaps the direction was a good route to go. But then the mini games kind of just none of them really worked.
No, and it was hilarious.
The control was awful, but it was very, very funny. Yeah,
that's not actually true though, because of the most hilarious thing of the generation would have been something that happened in Smash Bros.
Yeah, sure.
Because funny shit happens in that all the time.
Yeah, people getting stuck in barrels. Oh, wait,
that was the previous one, but near enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty great. I'm surprised we haven't. Is Mario Kart worth a mention?
No, it was just a Mario Kart game. Yeah. Double Dash was better.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though everyone hates Double Dash for some reason.
Yeah, no, I always really liked Double Dash. I don't get what the problem was with it. I mean, it felt different.
Yeah.
But that wasn't necessarily a bad thing.
It felt right for the platform.
Yeah. The chunky GameCube controller, I suppose, kind of was right for a fairly chunky handling game.
Yeah.
Even if all we ended up doing was playing on
the oval. Yeah,
the oval with like all the weapons.
I think we did that much.
Oh, I did it a ton at uni.
That was cool.
Okay.
I did it a lot. It was just like everything always just devolved into that. We'd play a few rounds on other tracks, and then we'd just send it to the oval and stay there. And of course, there was a race to be who could be Donkey Kong. I think so. You could just jump, put the giant bananas all over the track.
Yeah, whoever had the best secret power.
Yeah. Although Bowser, I think I played Bowser quite a lot on that one, just so I could use the big shell because it bounced around so awkwardly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Double Dash was definitely better. Agreed.
So that's the end of the Wii then. Smash Bros. Wins.
Smash Brothers wins. Best Wii game.
Almost certainly.
Okay, followed up with a couple of Mario and Zeldas, I guess.
And Sonic.
And Sonic Colors.
Yeah, Sonic Colors is worth a mention. It's pretty damn great.
Wow, that's a whole generation of Nintendo console there.
Yeah. I guess
it was Smash Brothers. What's the best game of the Wii U? I'm guessing Smash Brothers.
We don't do that yet.
No, I'm just saying.
Another 5 or 6 years.
I'm projecting forward 6 years to when we say Smash Brothers for the best game of the Wii U.
Maybe.
Almost certainly.
They could fuck it up.
Future Rob says yes.
Well, yeah, but even if they fuck it up, what's going to beat it?
That's true, I guess.
You mean to say that even if it's a shit Smash Bros, it's still going to be better than everything else on the Wii U?
Well, it depends what they do with Zelda on the Wii U. We still don't know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. They released Wind Waker HD.
No. That doesn't count.
Yeah. I mean, people are using it as a reason to get a Wii U. But
oh, wait. Secretly, the game of the generation on the Wii, Windjammers. It came out on the Virtual Console in Japan.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it? Wow. Someone still has that license then?
Well, the original people still have that license.
What, Data East?
Yeah.
They're still about?
Well, maybe not as Data East then, but the people who went off from there still have that license.
Well, that's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I know. Sucks. It only came out in Japan. Fuck them.
What does that mean about the licensing deal of people playing it in the EU then?
We can't get it. That's what that means.
I don't know if it's like one of those manga things where technically it's okay to watch like anime and stuff in this country if it's not been licensed in this country.
They should have just released it in all territories. I mean, come on. There's no reason. That's really the case for any game ever. It's like there's no reason to not release things in it. Well, or for at least for games that don't require much translation. If it's an RPG and it has a shit ton of text, then maybe you have a case.
Sure, there's a cost there, and I guess there's always for some regions in the EU, especially, there's bizarre legal requirements.
Yeah.
Or if you're shipping to Australia, I guess that would be a problem.
But not a digital release on the fucking Wii Shop. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, for something that's like
An arcade game
like would
that already had a US version as well.
would be guaranteed to get like an E for everyone rating, or
Yeah.
Right, shall we
But
move on
there was
to another
bikini
console?
ladies on the beach.
Ugh.
Tea.
oh no, oh not bikinis, not animated. Well, the very slight animated boob jiggle.
Yep.
Yeah. How's your breadstick doing?
Don't know, I haven't
It's
tasted
going to
it
be
yet.
very crunchy, I suspect.
Does it smell
I
great?
hope so.
Bite it and find out. Oh, not as crunchy as I thought.
No, yeah, it's not crisp crunchy.
No.
It is like background noise crunchy.
So anyway,
Very
what
crunchy.
what were you saying before I interrupted us with the most hilarious game ever?
We're going to swap console now.
Let's
Yes.
move to the PS3, I believe.
Oh,
Yes.
no. Yeah, let's go DS. Let's go DS. Stick to the Ninty.
Okay, Ninty theme.
Well, this is going to be another easy category.
Is it?
Go on then. What's the
Sonic
winner?
Rush.
Farts Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Dual Strike.
Yep.
Yeah.
What, over the
Over everything else.
What about the Dark Conflict one? Or?
No, that wasn't as good.
Nah, Dual Strike was better. I liked the style of Dark Conflict, but there wasn't as much content.
No.
But was Dual Strike better than the GBA games?
Yes,
Truly?
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
Best of the series?
Probably.
Dual Strike. Did it really use the dual screens that well?
Well, it didn't really, but it was not. There was more screen real estate in general was kind of useful.
Well, what it did with the dual screens was dumb, where it was like you had the concept of like dual screen fights, where it's like two different maps going on.
Yeah.
And then you could play. But the thing was, it's like you could set the second screen to be computer controlled, and it's like, why the fuck would you do that? Because the AI is inevitably retarded. So obviously you control both screens, but then obviously when you were controlling the other screen, it swaps it onto the bottom.
So you can use the touchpad.
stylus.
Right?
Yeah, so you can do the touchscreen, and then for some reason, when the top screen is the only one that is flat, and the bottom screen is mode 7, for no apparent reason.
Well, that's because the DS had the. Oh no, it's weird, isn't it? It was mode 7 on the bottom screen
Yeah,
and not on the top. Yeah, because the top screen. No, the bottom screen did have a little bit more processing power in the DS because the architecture is that both things
it's fucking mode 7.
had like it should have been able.
Or the alternate argument to that, why was any of it mode 7? Because it's a fucking map,
I guess.
and they were still using 2D sprites for the units and everything.
Well, to try and make it look different. I never minded it. It was subtle enough.
It was dumb. But the dual screen battles were bad anyway. That was actually bad.
That's what I mean. We'll talk about best game on the whole DS.
Yeah, but it was.
But that was a minor part.
Yeah.
Dual Strike. It wasn't every mission wasn't like that.
No.
There was only there was the dumb one where they occasionally be air units, weren't there, in the top screen?
Yeah.
And it would.
Where mode 7 didn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it was a flat cloud layer.
Yeah, that makes sense. What else we got?
But there's a shit ton of content in that game though. It's massive.
Yeah.
We got Meteors on here.
Probably.
Oh, how did I forget Meteos, man?
Best games of the whole DS.
Literally one of the first.
WarioWare.
A game that I had to import from America because I couldn't wait.
What, Meteos?
Yeah, and,
Oh,
and Advance Wars actually.
Yeah. WarioWare.
Is that the best version of WarioWare?
No.
No, the original two.
Yeah, the Game Boy
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Better, yeah.
It was pretty great, but not as good as the GB.
And then obviously
ones.
Sonic Rush Adventure.
Oh, you put Adventure higher than the original?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. There's something about... I don't think the level design was as good.
But it had better... on average, the levels were better levels overall. It didn't have any dumb parts of levels, like...
Oh, I suppose you're right. There's no,
because Rush had, like, this room is going to see you inside until you've defeated a certain number of enemies.
Yeah, true.
And then you're going to stand on this moving platform as it trundles very slowly along, and you can't walk off the edges because it's limited to the edge of the screen.
Yeah, you're right. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah. And Ethno Circus.
Yeah, exactly, that level.
just for that level alone.
Pretty much both of those Egyptian levels.
Mm.
Reminiscent of Sonic 3, where the Egyptian levels sucked.
I never used to mind the outdoor.
Yeah, the
Egyptian
first half was
levels
okay,
and
but the inside was a
Sonic
fucking pain in the ass.
Yeah, the ghost level. God. It was a pain. Yeah, okay, I'm with you on that. I suppose Sonic Rush had more of a structure as well, with the travelling games actually being kind of fun.
Adventure, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
You can't say Sonic Rush, because that was both of them.
Yeah, true. And having both of them having killer soundtracks.
Naturally.
Even though Hideki Naganuma only worked on the first one.
Yeah, that was a more interesting soundtrack.
Because it was just Jet Set Radio music.
Yeah, it was totally
Really?
nuts.
It was great. I'm a little bit disappointed they never stuck with that.
No.
Like, why didn't they just keep that style? Or does it feel dated now? I don't know.
Nah.
Nah.
It's appropriate for Sonic.
Yeah. So it is. That's the thing. It is super appropriate for Sonic, rather than their sort of guitars and strings and stuff that they sort of go for now.
I hate that. I really do. I wish it was.
Well, the strings were the worst. Whenever they go really, like some of the songs in Secret Rings got a bit epic. Although some of the songs in Secret Rings also had terrible lyrics.
Oh yeah. Every single bit of all you've got.
You can rock the house.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever the fuck that line actually is.
Let the speed to mend it.
Yeah, let the speed to mend it.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the fuck that means.
That was great. The problem, I guess, it was like one of the best and most annoying things about the Rush Adventure soundtrack was the constant feeling.
Oh, the putty people.
Yeah.
Hut, hut, hut.
Feeling hot.
What else we got on the Nintendo DS? Any decent Pokemon games on that thing?
No,
Well,
Diamond Pearl wasn't that
Yeah,
interesting.
that was sort of during
Fair
the
enough.
Pokemon lull. I
Kind of a
suppose.
lull period. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, there were so many games on that system, though. Probably way more than on the main
Star
consoles.
Fox Armada was pretty cool.
Not that great.
It wasn't. That's the problem. It was good. I wouldn't say it was. The problem was it just wasn't a proper Star Fox game. And as the last Star Fox game they've made, that's kind of worrying in a weird way. If you think about it, Star Fox Armada was the last Star Fox game Ninty put out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. The Mario Kart wasn't bad.
Yeah.
The DS Mario Kart was pretty good.
Not as good as the
GBA one. Obviously.
obviously.
I tried playing that the other day.
Well, all of those old Mario Karts are fucking ridiculous. How are we good at those?
Yeah, they're insanely hard.
What have you got Zelda-wise? Phantom Hourglass?
Yeah.
Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks,
Spirit Tracks.
Minish Cap.
Minish Cap was GBA.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, was it GBA?
I think so. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else.
Okay, so...
in fairness, I didn't have much for my DS. I didn't end up going big. Ridge Racer was fine for a launch game, but it's Ridge Racer.
It's Ridge Racer.
But it was more like old Ridge Racer. Like original Ridge Racer.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that quite worked.
No,
But still.
they had a lot of the same tracks and stuff, and handled very similar.
What about ridiculous Japanese, insane adventure games like Phoenix Wright and shit?
Ost Tatakayo
Yeah,
Enden.
yeah.
Or Oenden, yeah.
That game was fun.
Elite Beat Agents.
Yeah, screw that. You want the Japanese one?
Yeah. Objection.
I quite liked Phoenix Wright. I played the first one a bit. But it was a bit of a mixed bag. The Phoenix Wright was a weird one because it was a bit of a mixed bag because the first Phoenix Wright game they released on DS was originally a GBA game in Japan that they ported to DS for the American and EU markets. And they added stuff. They had a couple of cases where they started using the DS technology to do things that weren't in the original game. So you'd have objects you'd have to manipulate in 3D to find clues on them and stuff like that. And those cases were really great. And then you played another case and there would be there's only 5 cases in the game, so maybe only one of them was 3DS niceness. Or DS niceness. And then the others were just kind of, fairly basic texty sort of stuff. So that was a mixed bag. And then Phoenix Wright 2 and 3, which I think were also GBA ports as well, they didn't do any of that stuff, so they kind of got bored. So actually out of that era, Phoenix Wright 1 is the best of the lot, because they sort of experimented and then didn't do any. But I don't know, they were kind of interesting. But they were kind of annoyingly structured. Phoenix Wright games, for me, are a little bit annoyingly structured. They're kind of fun to read as a sort of visual novel rather than a game. I suppose. Because if you cock up a court case, you have to just go back and repeat a chunk until you get it right. And it's... I don't know. That gets tedious if it's kind of tricky to do. Or you haven't found a particular link between objects, or... I don't know. That gets a little bit meh. But I don't know how else you could do it. Unless you had some kind of crazy branching storyline that let you cock up cases.
That's the thing, isn't it? There's so much more work. I don't know how they do that. Right.
And it wouldn't necessarily fit within the franchise, would it? Like,
No, because he's Phoenix Wright, but
You never get shit wrong.
yeah. Objection!
So we're going with Zach's initial thing, like the last previous category.
Yep.
Last year's Dual Strike best game of the DS. Of the whole generation of portable games.
Yeah, I'll give it that. I'm okay with that. I would put Sonic Rush Adventure in a close second.
Meteors.
But runner-up for me, Meteors. It's great, but not as hot as those two.
Are we doing PSP, Lumines, etc.?
Yeah, sure. Why don't we do that now?
Wipeout Pure, that's my pick, I think.
What about Wipeout Pulse?
That's the thing. Like, Wipeout Pulse did a lot more, but I felt that Pure did it first, and it did it really well. Like, I don't think it was hobbled. Pulse just had more content.
Pure had different... Well, the handling changed quite significantly.
It did change a bit, but I quite like the Pure handling and the with the air brakes and stuff. And Pure had the first kind of absorb the power up to regenerate rather than
just dropping it.
Yeah, rather than dropping it or having to have pit lanes, which never really worked in Wipeout as good as in F-Zero. So
no, because they were always like, I don't know. There's part of the track design of Wipeout was to make the pit lanes look kind of realistic, and they were a pain in the ass to get into.
And they're impossible to use. So that was a big innovation, and I just thought it looked great. Like that level where it's raining and shit. Looks so cool.
Well, Wipeout Pure also benefited from the free DLC.
Yeah, loads of free DLC.
Loads of free DLC.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It more than doubled in content.
Yeah, it did.
And some of it was bonkers.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one they did with like designer brands or something, where like there were like cartoony style levels, and
it was awesome.
It was great.
It was great. I really like Wipeout Pure.
I think I almost ended up preferring all of the DLC stuff to the original stuff in that game.
So we got Pure, Pulse. We've got
Lumines.
We got Lumines.
Although I would put Lumines 2 over Lumines 1.
Fair enough. I played a lot more in Lumines 1.
Lumines 2 just had more. It was it was Lumines 1 but with more. So it's just better.
And dumb licensed music.
Yeah.
Did
it have was it Wind It Up by Gwen Stefani in there with the trumpets?
Oh yeah.
It was just like that because they would play the video in the background while you're playing Lumines, and there'd just be the odd shot of a trumpet just going. It's like that made my day.
Because Rob loves trumpets.
Yeah. No, some of the music and some of the music choices were genius. I'm still a massive fan of that Genki Rocket song. I know it's ultra cheesy, but I love it. By Mizuguchi's band. And it had some Junkie XL in there, had some Beck. It was a hell of a lineup, really. It was pretty great. All of it worked. Even Missy Elliott fucking worked in Blue Mines.
These are the launch games are the best games. It seems to be in general true. Like we've had Dual Strike. What did we have for the Wii? The Smash Brothers. That wasn't a launch title, though, was it?
No. That was Smash Brothers was quite late.
But for PSP, I feel like Wipeout, Lumines. We're talking about Lumines 2, which is later, obviously. But,
yeah.
What else?
Well, because then the problem was my interest in the PSP sort of waned.
Yeah,
because there wasn't any good games.
There was Loco Roco. That was alright.
Loco Roco was pretty great. I played Patapon quite a bit. That was okay. Wasn't as good as Loco. I tried playing Sonic Rivals. That was pretty guff.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
They did too much trying to make PS2 games work on the PSP, and it never really worked out.
The Burnout wasn't bad.
Yeah, that's true. I think I played that.
You had it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I did have that, didn't I?
Yeah.
But the thing is, Burnout 3 was just so good on the Xbox. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was hard to go to the PSP version from that. I mean, I know the PSP came afterwards, but it was
a bit framey on the PSP as well.
It was a bit.
Yeah.
A number of games on the PSP that were actually 3D suffered from frame issues.
Yeah.
I mean, Wipeout was pretty.
Wipeout was
all
alright. Yeah, I don't know. It was okay. It worked, but yeah. It was the first time I'd seen a screen like that. It was just pre-smartphones. Like, it looked amazing.
Yeah, the screen was pretty good. The screen was kind of ahead of its time. Well, there was a lot of dead pixels issues with the PSP in general, and it had a weird. It didn't like. If you had like a light scene and a dark object smeared across it, it would leave like a red trail behind it.
Yeah, there was some weird.
The refresh, I guess you'd call it, on the screen wasn't great. The time to things to light up was pretty slow, so it would be a bit blurry, a bit smeary. But I think I just ended up playing Lumines more than anything else on that thing.
Are you going for Lumines then?
I'm highly tempted to go to Lumines too. Yeah,
fair enough.
I
like Wipeout.
I'm sure I'm struggling to remember, but I'm sure there was some game that I played for an insanely long amount of time on that PSP.
Final Fantasy 7?
Yeah, I had that on the PS1 emulator.
No, yeah, I only played like up to where we are actually in the.
So like 13 hours.
Yeah, I don't think that was it. I think I played something else more, but I can't remember what it was.
Wasn't it the thing that you stopped to play Final Fantasy 7?
Maybe. I played quite a lot of Space Invaders Extreme on the PSP. That was kind of cool. Oh god, what was that weird Every Extend Extra?
Oh yeah,
that was pretty great.
Oh yeah, I remember that,
because that's very different from the Explar version. I got into that quite a lot because it's such a weird game.
Yeah,
and it had some pretty great music. Because that was Q as well.
Yeah.
That version of it. I'm sure there was something I used to just... It was something I actually installed. Got digitally.
Oh yeah, that was a new thing, yeah.
Yeah. Katamari wasn't all that great.
Yeah, Katamari wasn't as good as on PS2.
No, we love Katamari on the PS2 is by far the best version.
The best one. Yeah. Cool, I think we got some locks here, haven't we?
Yeah, it can't have been good enough if I can't remember it. Let's put it that way.
What are you thinking? Lumines over Wipeout?
I don't know. I didn't really play anything apart from Loco Roco and Lumines, but I only played Lumines on the PC, really.
Do you prefer Loco Roco to Lumines? No.
Not really.
Not really, yeah. Might go for Lumines then.
I think that's fair enough. Let's go for Lumines as a series.
Okay. I like
it kind of... Because one was also very good.
Yeah.
Two hit the sweet spot for me.
It's funny, this at the time, ultra powerful, first ever fully 3D handheld console, and the best game is a puzzle game that's effectively
that just had good music.
Yeah.
And it was great though.
It looked great.
Yeah, a puzzle game with musical timing.
Yeah.
It was kind of new.
It was cool.
Barely musical timing though, really.
Well,
Whenever anyone says like, "Oh, it's a music game," it's like not
really.
You're just playing a puzzle game, and then it just takes a certain amount of time for the things to clear.
Well,
that amount of time is related to the song.
But that was part of the strategy, though, of that game. It was kind of like, yeah, okay, the fact that it was timed to the music wasn't necessarily the important part, but the fact that it was the sort of timeline mechanic was kind of interesting. So you could build up bigger combos until the timeline swiped it. It was neat.
There we are then. PSP game of the generation.
Our favourite PSP game was Lumines. Or Lumines.
Or however the hell you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, I never did work out how you're supposed to say it. I think it is Lumines. But...
Right, let's move on to a serious console.
A serious console.
I'm thinking PS3.
Yeah.
We should go
PS3 is a different one. I didn't make many notes about PS3, but because PS3 is a bit of a weird one in my book, because it has a lot of really good highs, but I feel strangely about PS3, because if you want to talk it in terms of like if you get into one of those conversations about whether the Xbox or the PS3 is the superior one, it's kind of a difficult conversation, because PS3 had a number of really good first party titles,
yeah,
but then kind of everything else was a bit rubbish, or felt a bit rubbish to me, whereas the Xbox kind of had a fairly decent run across the board.
Yeah.
But the PS3 exclusives are really good.
Let's talk about them.
Like all of the Uncharted series.
Yeah, we got the Uncharted series and The Last of Us.
I mean, if I was to pick one out of the Naughty Dog catalogue, it would be Uncharted 2.
Yeah, me too.
Easily
obviously.
the best of the lot.
That was awesome. I mean,
It's amazing, both as a technical achievement and a fun to play game. Uncharted 2 is just leagues above it. I mean, Uncharted 3, they went a little serious.
Yeah.
And some of the level design just didn't... Some of the combat scenarios were really awkward.
It didn't quite pull off quite the same as 2, but what do you expect? I mean...
No, it was still a great game, but it just... There were segments of it that were just kind of crap, if I'm honest. That just didn't play very well. And the same is sort of true of The Last of Us. It's a wonderful technical achievement, but as we know from my discussions this year, it wasn't actually a fun game, and that's kind of intentional. And it did have some shit sections, like some really shit sections at times that I just did not get on with.
Whereas Uncharted 2 kind of holds you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it has that Indiana Jones comedy feel.
It really does, and it does it well. Like, it's not too cheesy or too...
No, I mean, the entire game may be dumb if you start breaking it down, but then so is Indiana Jones. The whole thing is dumb, so it's like, it works. It just works. It's a fantastic game.
And that's pretty much the end of that conversation.
So we got Uncharted 2?
Well, pretty much. I mean,
I
played Catherine on PS3, and I thought that was pretty great.
I thought I had something on PS3. I can't remember.
You don't know, Jack. Done.
Well, we haven't played that yet.
But it's fucking great.
Yeah. It's a given.
It's kind of the same game as the previous generation and the generation before that.
Little Big Planet was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's true. Little Big Planet.
Again, not because the control was particularly tight, but because it was doing something very new. I mean, the creative tools in that, you could argue, are still kind of unparalleled in the space. And the fact that Little Big Planet 2 then went and expanded things to try and let you build like other games and things, and like the mechanics were robust enough to let you build like mechanical calculators, crazy ass shit going on in that game. It was good. It was good, kind of groundbreaking.
You got your Gran Turismos, I guess. What else is a PS3 game?
Heavy Rain.
Yeah,
Heavy Rain's kind of great.
Heavy Rain.
I really like Heavy Rain. I mean, I know it's a kind of a polarizing game, but I really like it. And it's good as both a technical showpiece and it's a pretty great story actually in that as well. I know we haven't done it, but I still really want to play Beyond.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily convinced it's going to be better than Heavy Rain from what I've heard about it, but
it'll be a new.
I think it's going to be a fun experience for however long it lasts. I think it's going to be an enjoyable ride, if not a technically brilliant game. If you put it that way.
I guess Final Fantasy kind of dropped the ball in the PS3 era to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind 13, but if you were to put it against the other Final Fantasies,
Yeah. That's the trouble.
Yeah, it is the trouble. Even if I wasn't a crazy fan of FFX, but you put FFX next to 13, and I'd take X any day.
Yeah.
And I know I've got 13.2 to play, but 13.2 supposedly fixed a number of the problems with 13. So yeah.
But we're not talking game of the console generation. That's for sure.
No, not. It's a shame. It's a shame. They could have done something really special with the PS3 era tech, but just I don't know what happened to them really. Is it because I don't know what happened internally at Squeenix that made everything a bit of a problem this time round. Something must have happened.
I guess so. I don't know what's going on at Squeenix in general because they turned into a publisher that bought like idols and shit and did all kinds of stuff, and they're trying to go Western, which works sometimes and sometimes doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still holding out hope for 15.
Yeah, it should be good.
Some of that, well, admittedly, we haven't really seen any concrete sort of gameplay footage, I suppose. It's those sort of like what look like a highly CGI'd mock-up. But, I'm still holding out hope. Although not that kind of hope, because goddamn, Hope may be the most annoying character of the entire generation.
There we go. Winner.
Winner of most annoying character. Fucking
I don't know about that.
I didn't mind.
I'm sure if we thought about it all, we could come up with some pretty bad ones.
I don't know. A lot of people had a problem with Vanille as well from that game. I didn't. I thought she was fine.
The
But
best name ever. Neil.
yeah. I mean, she's a very over-the-top, very Japanese-style character, but I don't necessarily have a problem with that. It just perhaps stood out that it was a very, like, anime character being American voice acted, maybe. That sort of made it feel a little weird. I don't know. You can sort of get away with a lot of stuff when you anime things. I don't know. I really wanted to play Ni no Kuni, which I think might have been up there.
Could have been. Ni no Kuni, maybe.
Had I have played it. I'm struggling to think, really, because there must be more than I can think of. Like, because a lot of people talk about Gran Turismo being pretty amazing, although I hated GT5. And I never really bought into much, to be honest, on the PS3 and compared. I just played the Uncharted because they were great.
I think we got a winner here. It's Naughty Dog.
Journey?
You got Journey, yeah.
Journey's pretty fantastic. And there's all of the That Game Company stuff, like Flow and Flower.
Flower, all that. Flower was kind of a neat showcase for PS3 builds.
Yeah. Oh, God, why... We had this conversation earlier. Why have we not said it? Fucking Wipeout HD!
Yeah.
Oh my god, that game.
We've got launched downloadable game.
Oh my god.
Wipeout HD.
And we've done it again. A fucking launch game. Or near launch game. I don't think it came out immediately. It was pretty close.
Pretty close. It was the only reason to get a PS3 for a long time, I think.
Oh my god, Oh, no. Oh, I'm now having a really tough fight in my head between that and Uncharted 2.
That's the only...
Especially when the Fury pack came out for Wipeout HD, and that thing just went, oh, it's so good. Shit.
Yeah. I think for me it's Uncharted 2, but that's because that's pretty much the only game that was so good that I had to steal someone's PS3 just to play it.
Well, I never got into GTA, which is supposedly one of the biggest things to get if you had a PS3, you know.
GTA?
Yeah.
I don't know if that can count in our category.
But they say GTA 4 was like one of the... I suppose if you're like talking
GTA 4 's
exclusives,
awesome,
I guess.
but
GTA 4 on the PS3 was like supposedly the one to get. But yeah, I don't really know what to add to that. I mean, I guess I wasn't as involved with PS3 as perhaps I should have been, but maybe that's something about the way Sony make games. I don't know. Like Infamous, some people are really, really into that.
You quite liked it.
I quite liked it, but it's not mind-blowing.
Yeah.
You know, and Infamous 2 did a lot of good for people, although I haven't played that one.
I think we're looking at Uncharted 2. It's so good, though. Brilliant game.
It's astounding what they pulled off in there, really.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's in pace. Like, even when I thought things were thinking of coming to an end, there's like a whole another couple of acts, and it just keeps going, and it's still interesting, and it's still entertaining. It's great. And the snowy stuff, and the train, and...
The train is awesome. The crazy, like, village with tanks in and shit. That's insane.
Yeah. The truck... The
truck following
the convoy.
Down
The convoy fight, where you're jumping between...
It's freaking amazing.
What was that game on the PSP where you were jumping between cars? Was it Pursuit Force or something? Or...
Oh, right. I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
It was a bit. It felt a little bit like that at times, because you were just jumping between cars and then jumping onto a horse, and then...
It's totally insane. And it looked great. And you were always in control. Like, even when everything was going crazy, it was never just a cutscene. You always had, like, some control of what was going on, which was so cool. Uncharted 2! Woo!
Yep.
Let's move on.
Pretty deserved. Alright, should we talk... do
we do the big one?
Jump to
No, let's do 360. Let's do the big one.
360! I've got a weird selection here that I've put down as like... Because I guess there's one of my personal moments in here, but there must be much more than that.
Yeah, okay.
Like, for launchy stuff, I guess, you know, PGR3 was a big deal.
Yep.
As was Geometry Wars. Pretty big deal. Geometry Wars was kind of the proof that a digital distribution on a console could kind of work and produce good results for a small game, I suppose. And in a way, maybe inspired a lot of what we saw from the indie community that eventually ended up on consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. You know, that's all speculative, but I can't help but feel Geometry Wars was a big part in making that scene work, which is no small feat. Bit of that. Sticking with the driving theme, I suppose. The Blur, I think, probably wins it for me as my favourite racing game of the whole platform. It's pretty great.
Pretty great. It's just not as good as Burnout 3 Takedown. God damn it.
Well, Burnout Revenge was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah,
I really liked Burnout Revenge.
It wasn't
I
as
probably
good as
like it
Takedown,
more.
though.
I don't know. I think I liked it more.
No, because it had the stupid traffic checking. And I don't know.
Yes, traffic checking was the worst shit in Burnout. That's when they ruined it.
So, yeah, that's why they... Yeah. So, 360 games, I want to stick a couple out there.
Well,
for contention.
I've got Red Dead Redemption on my list.
See, that's on the PS3 and
I know it's multi-platform. I suppose Blur is multi-platform as well, but it was...
See, I want to spoil it now,
okay.
but I mean, that is my game of the whole generation, is Red Dead Redemption. But we can talk about that as a...
yeah, I mean... It's annoying because actually I'm sort of inclined to agree with you, maybe.
Well, we'll get to that one.
I know, there's a lot of discussion there, maybe. But
I want to throw out a couple for 360. I don't know if this one counts, but Mass Effect 2?
Yeah, it was pretty great. Apart from the sort of
it's
end
a
of it.
game as well, but
Yeah.
I'm counting it as a 360 game. Mass Effect 2, it was... The ending of that was fine, wasn't it? It must have been a cliffhanger.
No, it wasn't fine.
It was the
Giant Terminator.
Oh, yeah.
It was totally retarded.
Oh, yeah, it was dumb.
And also
It was
totally
dumb.
inconsequential to the overarching story in the three games.
It was kind of cool, the actual bit leading up to the Giant Terminator, though. The suicide missions. That was awesome.
Sort of.
And, like, with people getting killed and
It's a race
shit.
against time.
No, it was much better than the previous one. And I
Oh
thought...
yeah, the step up from Mass Effect 1 is enormous.
I thought it was a truly good game, apart from that ending, yeah, admittedly. The Terminator was dumb. But other than that game was brill. And my other contender I want to stick in there is Halo Reach. The best Halo game.
Halo Reach is
since
pretty
Halo.
amazing. Yeah.
Even the multiplayer I really liked in that.
I don't think the story maybe...
No, the
The
story
story was
perhaps-
probably kind of weak, but the actual gameplay is really great.
Yeah.
The multiplayer is very strong.
I think it had the best level design in single player as well. Apart from the fact that they randomly shoved in the multiplayer maps pointlessly in random parts of it.
And yeah, I know they were trying to make it sort of blend in, maybe, but it didn't work.
That didn't really matter because you never really fought in those areas.
But there was nothing interesting to find in them.
Yeah.
You'd end up in these like often rather large areas that you could explore, and there'd be nothing to
there.
do.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's-
But the actual levels themselves, once you get into them, and like I really enjoyed having the combat with both brutes and elites. That worked really well.
yeah, that was nice to see.
And just in generally, and the way they went back, they chucked the dual wielding out and went back. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never quite decided on that. I don't think it was a problem either way. I mean, I quite liked the dual wielding because it made for some interesting mechanics, both in multiplayer
Combos, yeah.
and in the single player. You could do some interesting stuff, and perhaps dumbing it down. It doesn't necessarily, I guess removing it is kind of a streamlining effect, but in a way, it kind of removed some of that intrigue.
It made it a bit more
time.
classic Halo for me.
Yeah,
So I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah, so I'm
You
not
can
sure.
take it or
I'm
leave
not.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't think I mind either way.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was interesting. I think Halo 4 is the better game in terms of multiplayer
Right,
by a long way. I think the Halo 4 multiplayer is phenomenal.
right.
Not to say that Reach wasn't bad. I just think 4 does it slightly better.
Okay.
The style change really helps the multiplayer. I think the fact that they went slightly, and their visual style went a bit more future tech, I suppose, in terms of like Arial font.
Right, yeah.
They ran with it a bit wipeouty in some places, I suppose, in terms of design. But it's but the story with Halo 4 is a bit of a problem. I think again it plays fine, but doesn't feel necessarily 100% like Halo, and it's because it's so linear now. And the story doesn't make a lot of sense unless you read into the backstory, which is kind of crap. So, by that logic, I think Reach is the better game. But I can't have this conversation without putting ODST in there.
Yeah, I think I like ODST the most out of the Halos.
That game holds a special place for me because that is so different to pretty much anything, really. When you start to think about it, ODST is kind of unique in gaming because its structure is its non-linear sort of way of tackling, or sort of non-linear.
But it's still linear. It's just a non-linear story.
Well, I think there are points I think where you can tackle some of the missions in the middle in a different order.
Well, in theory, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that it has that hub world, which is kind of interesting to just explore, and was a pretty great co-op experience. Seeing everything, and the mechanics were different enough as well. Like, so you felt kind of vulnerable being just an ODST guy rather than Master Chief. Although you're still pretty hardcore. Let's be honest. Which is like you're more hardcore than any of the Marines you'll see in any of the Spartan games. It's got Nathan Fillion in it. God,
That's the key.
I think it even had what's her face who played Caprica 6 in it.
Yeah, Trisha Hill.
Yeah, that's it.
Because she's in Mass Effect, of course, as the
yes.
robot lady, Edie.
Yeah, that's it. Firefight was really almost the best implementation of Firefight was in ODST as well.
Yeah.
They didn't get that right, I don't think, in Reach, or they made it too hard in Reach. It's just a very, very good game. It doesn't have the technical prowess of Reach or Halo 4, but it's a pretty great game. You know what? I'm going to put ODST above Reach for me.
There you go.
Just thinking about it. It holds a special place.
What else we got on the 360?
Load of stuff. Gears of War.
Gears of War.
Come on, man. Gears
The
of War.
first one, probably the best. What do you think? 2 was probably a better game.
I like 2. I like 2 a lot.
One had more atmosphere.
Yeah, 1 was a better tale, I think,
Yeah.
in a sort of way. But because one I liked because it was at the time it was kind of original in the sense that it didn't feel unbelievable, which is weird given its sort of setting and
Crazy setting, yeah.
and its e-holes and and all that and weird locust enemies. But it did feel like you're just spending time with this squad of 4 guys in a sort of semi, just a day. It felt like their duty, like without. Even if Marcus Phoenix does have some weird connections back to his dad in some weird way, they were never really expanded on in that first game.
No.
And so he didn't necessarily feel special and that kind of stuff. And it had there was the bit of backstory that Marcus was kind of stripped of rank or something at that point, that he'd been a baddie or done something. I can't remember exactly. But
Yeah, there was like a court situation that you had to walk through and stuff.
yeah. But that was another one of those moments in the 360's history where it was just like, holy shit, these consoles can do this.
It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Better than Halo by quite a bit at that point.
Yeah, well, it's probably better than any of the Halos.
Yeah.
Like, even Halo 4, Gears of War 1 probably looks better than it. Although that's coming from memory, but it
looked awesome.
I think 2 was
played nice.
a better playing game in
Yeah.
general, and the multiplayer was pretty great in it as well. 3, I think, lacked a bit of soul.
That's the trouble. Yeah.
It kind of ran out of steam, I think, by 3. It was still a good game, but it's just something didn't feel there. Didn't feel like it cared anymore. Even if, Dom's death was kind of... There's some pretty good moments in that game, but they did play the zombie card.
Yeah. Which is never a good card.
That almost screams desperation.
So we've got big shooters here. Got ODST.
Which kind of leads me like...
Gears of War 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shooters with big guns, I suppose. Well, do you want to consider Call of Duty in this discussion? Because it only really had gravitas on the Xbox. I mean, sure, it had a PC version. Sure, it had a PS3 version, but I think the sales rating is like a rate of 9-1, like Xbox versus any other platform.
Let's just go with COD 4, COD Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops. COD 4 was the big one.
COD 4 was the groundbreaker.
Yeah.
And has fucked up FPSs forevermore.
Yeah.
I guess. The things it put in motion will never be undone. But I'm not sure it would hold up.
Yeah.
I don't think it would hold up today if you went back and played it.
I find that game annoying to play for the single player at least.
Well, because COD 4 had incredibly obvious enemy wells.
Yeah.
And, you had to move past a very specific pixel in the map, and then all of a sudden your teammates would come and join you, and then enemies would stop spawning. It's not that that's necessarily bad design. I mean, I'm sure games do that in a lot of places. It's the fact that it was just so visible. It was really obvious that was happening. But they do have to get credit for doing that kind of creepy, well, what people describe as creepy, like sort of too realistic looking AC-10 section. Is that AC-10?
Oh, yeah. No, it's AC-130.
Yeah, the gun plane thing.
Yeah.
Because it does look creepily sort of real. That filter.
It's grim.
It's it doesn't sit well, and of course the nuke scene is incredible. It's like you just didn't see that coming.
No,
really, that it would actually put you
especially after you just went and rescued that dude, and then it's like, oh shit,
and you just and you're dead. Oh, and you get to watch yourself painfully die.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not great. So yeah, it may have had all those things, and it's kind of got its good. But Black Ops 2, damn, that's a game. That's out of all the Call of Duties, that's by far the best.
Cod Ops 2.
Cod Ops 2
is the best.
Yeah. I mean, although I haven't played Ghosts, I think even most people that are really into their Call of Duty and have played Ghosts have come to me, have sort of said, yeah, Ghosts is just more COD. Ops broke more ground recently, so
it's true.
So Ghosts is like a step back and feels like a step back, so I can't put that up there. But Blops 2 they were really ambitious with that game, and it shows. I like the branching storyline stuff because that was unexpected and no one thought they would add that in. And it plays out actually kind of well. A lot of the time there are moments where it's not clear if you've made a decision. And some of the decisions are actually kind of... you kind of have to know the trick in sections, perhaps, in order to make the decision, which isn't necessarily good design. Like, some of it is a bit questionable, I guess, in that front. I don't know, the death of... Is it Alec Mason? I guess. The original Old Mason.
Mason, yeah.
Oh no, Alec Mason was Red Faction.
Yeah.
He's called Mason, whatever. Old Mason. Let's call him Old Mason. Because you could influence that in a way that wasn't immediately obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Like he didn't have to die or something.
Like Deus Ex.
Yeah.
Where
Like Paul in Deus Ex.
managed to set up the most ridiculous minefield possible.
That was
you might actually
awesome.
win that fight.
Oh man, I love Deus Ex.
But yeah, it was clever, and the multiplayer is my favourite of all the CODs. It's really good. The sort of way you can balance the pick 10 system for how you can balance your character to be more gun focused or more perk focused or more grenade focused and stuff like that. It works really well. Very, very, very good ideas.
Cool.
So yeah, that ranks pretty highly.
Cod Ops 2.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that's my favourite, but it's pretty high.
What is your favourite? What's your favourite?
I don't know.
I'm like.
I haven't mentioned Viva Pinata.
Well, I was thinking about that, but that's not going to do it.
Oh come on, it's not going to win, but damn, that was a pretty great game.
In theory, apart from they just ruined their own mechanics by making it. They ruined there's like. It would have been better if it had just been like a tycoon game if there hadn't been a threat. But as soon as they introduced a threat, it fucked everything up, literally, as well.
Yeah, there should have been a mode they introduced later on to make that stuff optional, so you can... Because most of the game was just trying to
breed things.
Yeah, to figure out what you had to do to make things work. What you had to do to find the various colours of the animals and stuff like that. It was a discovery game, but yeah, the red things...
Yeah.
Did kind of muck up the pace quite a bit, which was a shame. They should have, if they had just had a mode that you could get to a point where you could make gardens that were threat free. That game would have been a lot better. And also, they screwed up the early game pacing. Like the early game pacing is like Blitzkrieg. Stuff just happens all the time. You don't know what the fuck is going on. Like it's like here's a creature you've never seen before. What? and then it'd be like, well, where is that? Because it would just show you like this cutaway of the creature appearing, but it wouldn't tell you where it was. And so for a while, you just saw these like cutscenes of animals, and it's like, what the hell's going on? And then you realise, oh, they're just nearby. I haven't got them yet. It's like they've just appeared in the world, and it didn't handle like learning the game very well, really. But I think it's like hugely underrated. I can tell you what the worst game was.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Sonic 06.
Well,
Okay, that was terrible. Yeah. Best game on the Xbox 360, Carcassonne.
Oh my god, yeah. I played.
doesn't count.
Okay, sorry.
I played so much of that though.
Scott Pilgrim, the video game.
Pretty great, but multi-platform. PS3 version was just as good.
Fair enough.
There weren't many.
Super Meat Boy.
Not exclusive, yeah, but pretty great. Trying to think, the Explorer was a bit of a. There's good stuff on there, but I don't know if there's anything that's. I mean, Outland, I really liked. That was the sort of Icariga colour shifting platformer. I thought that was very clever, very good. And I suppose Explosion Man was kind of great, but didn't really reach the heights of anything else we talked about.
So what are we looking at?
I don't fucking know.
Cop Ops 2, ODST. I like Mass Effect 2. Zach? Preferences?
No.
None.
Either ODST or Mass Effect 1.
Mass Effect 1 over 2, you saying? You prefer
I only played Mass Effect 1 I played 2 on the PC.
Yeah.
I played 1 on the Xbox.
It wasn't on PC at the time, was it?
What about Mirror's Edge? But I suppose that's...
I don't know.
It's better on PC. Even though the controls were weird for a PC game.
I don't think Mirror's Edge quite... As soon as they... It was quite annoying to play later on. Like,
Yeah,
with the guns,
it's
when
like
the
as
guns
soon as there was
happened,
any combat.
Yeah, it just was screwed. It's like they could have just made harder and harder parkour courses, but they didn't. They were like, oh, let's do some shooting for no reason. That kind of ruined it. Yeah.
And I'm very torn with this one because I can't say Blur, although I wouldn't
You
put
can
it.
say Blur.
I wouldn't put it as my top. Red Dead, I would love to say, but I think it's we have to count that as multi-platform.
Yeah.
Because the PS3 version, as glitchy as it was probably just as good.
Yeah, it's probably about the same.
Damn. That's a really hard one. And if Zach's not going to give me any help with this, I'm going to struggle.
I already said what I had.
What, Mass Effect 1?
Yeah, all ODST.
I'm just looking at... Oh, how about the Williams pinball?
No!
Check them out.
Move those Christmas cards out of the way.
The entire catalogue.
Oh man, Perfect Dark Zero must be up there for biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
Shittest games.
Because the hype for that was so large.
What about Dirt 2?
Better on PC.
Multi-platform. Yeah, PC version kicks its ass.
Okay. Ass Creed 2? That's my platform.
Multi-platform again.
But
Lost Odyssey. Huh,
I forgot about that. I want to talk about Ass Creed 2 because that's a good one.
We overlooked Lost Odyssey.
I don't think that's that great.
It's Final Fantasy.
Mm.
It's as good as the old Final Fantasies.
Could have been better though.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, it didn't push the console in any way, the story did kind of peter out, and it didn't have any twists. Because I think that was the bit that annoyed me most about that game, was that I really quite like the world, and I quite like the story, and I quite liked those. It got me reading those like the little memory things, like the sort of visual novel things that they did. I thought they were all really good. The world fit together really well. It's just the story itself didn't really go anywhere. It's like you realise quite early on who the bad guy is, and yeah, he's the bad guy. That's not a JRPG story. It's like the JRPG story has a moment like halfway through where it's like, oh, the bad guy you thought was the bad guy is not really the baddest of the bad guys, or isn't a bad guy at all, or...
I was trying to think about Final Fantasy, and it's like... It's pretty much the bad guy is the bad guy in Final Fantasy VII.
I suppose, yeah.
There's a little twist where it's like he gets badder. I don't think that's...
That's fine. I think that counts. Like, getting badder is probably okay. But, yeah, man.
Getting hungrier.
Yeah.
Or if you're talking about, like, Final Fantasy IX, where it's like, the bad guy is the bad guy, and then you kill him, and then there's just, like... It's really just the embodiment of, like, a part of the apocalypse, and then you just fight it. It's not really... it's not really a twist.
No, yes.
It's barely even a character. It's just like this vague... I guess it's sort of like Earthbound. We fight Gygas at the end. It's just like, he's not really anything. It's just a concept that you fight.
Fight a concept. At least it's not a giant moon made of zombies.
I guess Zach and I... right, my logic is coming down to the fact that I think out of all the things that Zach and I put time into on the Xbox...
It's Marvel vs. Capcom 3. No, not really.
I haven't put enough time into that. No. I think the Halo franchise just walks it in terms of how much we got into it and how much we played it.
Beats the Mass Effect franchise.
Yeah.
Okay, and
in
the COD
multiplayer, at least.
COD.
Yeah, well, I've probably put more time into COD than I did Halo 4 and that kind of stuff, but...
Yeah.
But
when you got ODST and Reach and 3, which we haven't talked about, I thought that was disappointing, but it's alright.
I want to say ODST.
ODST, the best game on the 360.
Which is weird.
A weird expansion pack for Halo 3.
Yeah. I mean, it feels weird me saying that, but at the same time, I kind of think maybe that's right.
Okay! Well, that's it then. The Saladcast game of the generation on 360. Halo ODST. Check it out now.
Well, the exclusive. On the 360.
Exclusive. Right, should we...
I guess, well, there's PC, if we wanted to cover that.
I don't think we've got time to cover... Because it's like
PC's
not
a
a
bit
generation.
big. Yeah.
Like, what are you putting in there?
PC
It doesn't matter because we don't have to even think about it because it's TF2.
Team Fortress 2.
Oh, TF2, right. TF2 wins. Okay.
Easily.
That's true. Okay, that's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the orange box.
I don't know, yeah.
Does that
No,
include
just
Portal?
TF2.
Portal's pretty good.
Finalize it.
Yeah, would it go? Would you put it next to Portal 2? Or...
Yeah, it's better than Portal 2. I prefer Portal 1 anyway.
Fair enough. Team Fortress 2! Winner of the PC! Woo! And I guess we've got multi-platform stuff.
Actually, the orange box came out on Xbox, so that's technically... And PS3, so that's technically the best game of the generation. But anyway.
But
shit! Red Dead versus orange box. Fuck me. That's impossible.
I think you could rule out orange box.
Because it's cheating, because it's 3D.
Because it was shit on the other platforms.
Yeah, well, TF2 specifically on Xbox and PS3 never worked.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay. So, right.
Like breaking Valve's kind of, like, quality guarantee, really. It's the one blip, I think.
So the final category, multi-platform games.
Yeah, there's tons.
I'm throwing out... Red Dead is my obvious choice, but I've also got... Well, you've got the GTAs, but you also got Assassin's Creed 2, I thought was really, really good.
Assassin's Creed 2 is my favourite of the series.
Yeah.
Easily.
What else we got? For seriously good stuff.
Seriously good multi-platform. Well, you know, we could bring Mass Effect back into this again. We could bring COD back into this because they are technically multi-platform.
Yeah, we've kind of discussed those.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd beat...
Well, Battlefield 3 fits in.
Battlefield, yeah, okay.
Even if the single player is shocking.
Not as bad as Battlefield 4, though, somehow.
Yeah. Weirdly, Battlefield 3's single player is still better than Battlefield 4's.
Okay. Assassin's Creed 2 was really good. Like, I was very surprised at the time, I remember.
Well,
it really came together.
There's the Bioshocks to consider.
Yeah, you got Bioshock. Bioshock 1, actually. I think...
Bioshock 1 sets the best atmosphere, but doesn't necessarily play so great as a game.
Yeah.
Especially on console. I don't think Bioshock actually plays very well on console because of the weapon switching stuff.
Yeah.
Because you could hold as many weapons as you wanted.
Yeah.
And of course, Infinite is, still counts as this gen, so...
I guess so. It's hard to look back on games like Infinite and GTA 5 when they're like this year, but they do count.
Holy crap, yeah, GTA 5, yeah.
Well, yeah,
It's technically this generation. So.
But I personally, as a GTA fan, I think it's quite a big deal that I think I prefer Red Dead.
Well, do we consider mobile in all of this?
So that's its own category.
Peggle.
Mobile
These are
game
like
generation.
full, massive games.
What if we put Peggle in there?
Oh, it wins.
Or Plants vs Zombies, or
Nah.
Bejeweled.
Bejeweled Blitz. Yeah.
It's a real favourite game of the generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tiny Tower. Bitches.
No.
Sorry.
Even I drifted away from. I don't know why I got into that.
Game of the generation. Angry fucking birds. Anyway.
No, I'm vetoing Angry Birds.
Yeah. I'm
Not because it probably hasn't sold enough to guarantee its spot up there, but it's fucking Angry Birds. I'm sick of it now.
It's not that amazing.
No.
I think games like Assassin's Creed 2 and BioShock are gonna like stand out when you look back from like 10 years in the future or whatever.
Well, that may be for us, because some people look back on the Assassin's Creed series and will go by not Revelations but Brotherhood. That's the one.
Yeah,
We'll go by that one
that's
because
the thing. Brotherhood, like
I didn't like its story.
No, and the Rome thing wasn't as good as having Florence and Venice and.
I mean, mechanically, it played better.
Slightly.
I mean, yeah, the bro button.
I had the bro button, but I didn't even use that too much. But they had tuned the control so you didn't jump straight off buildings, leaping into the air like a madman.
It still
Quite so
happens.
much. It still happens now.
Yeah.
It's probably going to happen. I'm going to be at least in the new one. I'll be jumping into the sea rather than into splatting to my death. Yeah, but I think 2 was the best. The introduction of great character in Ezio. And all these supporting players, Leonardo da Vinci, etc. And Uncle Mario. It's a me, Mario! That was a great moment of hilarity. Yeah. But yeah, my favourite game was Red Dead. I really like it.
That did capture me more than I ever expected it to. I just pretty much didn't give a shit about it until I played it.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, holy crap.
I get it.
I'm in.
It's weird how no one's done Western games, and it works brilliantly.
Well, people do, but they're
just not
mostly terrible.
Yeah, I mean, there's loads more, like, World War II games or space games or whatever. Western is like a classic genre of film, along with sci-fi and World War II and all that.
I don't know if there's like some creative limitations of what you could really do other than it be sort of like, I don't know, shooting dudes.
I suppose. But it really worked. Even the shooting in Red Dead, like with the Deadeye, it was pretty cool. It was something slightly unique. Obviously, it didn't have the feel of a Gears of War or whatever, but it worked. I mean, you could actually shoot people in the head while you were on a horseback, and they were on horseback, and it felt awesome.
And it was like, and it kind of worked.
Yeah, and it kind of worked. It was cool.
I mean, it's not the most. It's not the sharpest controls in the world, but it was good enough.
Yeah,
and it's
and
the story is fantastic.
Story's fantastic.
All of the
world
writing is
great.
brilliant.
The writing's brilliant. The world is great. The atmosphere is really good.
Even
the
if
music's amazing.
Even if my playthrough did cock up some of the important moments.
Yeah, that's not so good. Especially when we go to the menu at that perfect, like...
Well, no, what was it? The one...
look at these flowers!
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
Like,
I'd just done the last mission before I could go see my family, and the music starts playing, and the lyrics start coming in, and it's like, and I know, and I'm like, blueberries! Or whatever it was.
Whatever it was on the side of the
bluebells. And I pick them up and the music stops.
Oh,
and it's like, fuck.
Disaster.
So by playing the game, I ruined the moment.
And that game was freaking awesome. I really like Red Dead. I'm going to play it again sometime.
Why didn't they make a PC version? I mean, come on.
It's really annoying. I would buy it instantly, even if it was 40 quid or whatever. I'd probably buy it and play it. It's really annoying. Because they ported GTA 4 fine. It's not great, but it's...
Oh, well, yeah, it's the biggest beef with GTA 4 was always the DRM.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they've removed that now, haven't they? The games for Windows shit.
It wasn't default. It was...
Oh, was it just the social...
Oh, what was it called? It was one of those rootkit programs.
Oh, right.
Star something?
Yeah, one of the Star ones.
What was it?
Yeah.
Well, that can't be in there anymore, because I've definitely played the Ballad of Gay Tony without that going through that crap.
Yeah, no, I think they backtracked on it eventually,
Yeah.
but it was a bit of an uproar about it.
Would you know because it's silent?
Yeah.
That kind of DRM.
I think they acknowledged that they wouldn't do it again, but I don't
They
think.
kind of cut that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Red Dead beats like Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed, my other favourites. And GTA 4. I love GTA 4. It just doesn't. I'm very surprised that Rockstar San Diego came along and kind of knocked it out of the park.
Oh man, I forgot to talk about Vanquish in our 360 talk. That was pretty great. Doesn't change my decision, but
Yeah.
just should note it.
Okay.
Vanquish was awesome. Oh, and there may have been a PS3 version. Yeah. There may have been a PS3 version.
Right, are we wrapping this up? Do you want to talk about PC games of the last 8 years?
Well, yeah, what did you...
What else was there? 8 years of 242.
TF2. Yeah, okay. That is the actual game of the generation.
Yeah.
It doesn't really count because it's not a console game.
We don't need to talk about any other ones to beat it, but
No.
there were other good games, obviously.
Yes.
It was great when it began. It got even better, and it's still great.
And it's still great.
Just after 8 years of evolution,
Yeah.
you can still just play it now, and it's perfect.
I mean,
Well, okay, it's not perfect, but it's pretty damn close.
can you count World of Warcraft in this generation?
Yeah,
We didn't play it, so we don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
Fuck that game.
It's probably the game that made the most money.
Well, yeah, probably.
It's the game that was so good that no one can actually, even now when it's getting super old, no one can actually figure out how to recreate its success or beat it. Yeah, which is ridiculous. Not that people have worked out how to beat TF2 either, because they haven't.
No.
This was kind of the age of both the great and the shit in MMO. I think we saw like the extremes get further apart.
Well, World of Warcraft is unquestionably the conqueror of MMO. I mean, Eve is just so different, but it's really good.
Yeah.
But,
And Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2. Definitely. My personal fave. Of all time. Not that I've played many MMOs, but there you go.
Okay.
And Space Camp.
And Space Game.
Space Camp.
Okay, good.
Game of the PC in general. TF2. Game of the generation of consoles. Red Dead Redemption.
Well, we were talking multi-platform, weren't we?
Yeah, multi-platform.
Best multi-platform game.
Are we putting that up against what were the other two? Red Dead versus Uncharted 2 versus the Halo ODST.
ODST, yeah. When you put ODST next to those two,
Yeah,
it
it's
can't
funny.
win.
That's a shame for the 360. So you got Uncharted 2 versus Red Dead. Well, they have similarities, but Red Dead is open world, which means it wins in my book. I like open world games.
Yeah, I'm really torn on that one.
Uncharted 2 is fucking awesome.
Yeah, they are both amazing games, and
Yeah. They're both weird because they're both kind of third-person games where the shooting is pretty good, but isn't as good as Gears of War, which is interesting. And they're both like quite story-focused and with some good performances and shit.
Maybe we should just refer to this generation forevermore as the Nolan North generation.
The Nolan North generation, it really is.
Because that guy was everywhere. And he's pretty great. I was trying to think... Wait, there was... I'm sure we may have discussed this recently. I was trying to think if there was a role that Nolan North played that we thought was bad.
Well, he's in so many things that...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Often in bizarre places. Deadpool?
Yeah, that was probably the only one.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really his fault.
People say that he plays Deadpool well, but
Yeah.
that, Deadpool's the script of what they've made him do and the actual game is obviously terrible. But is there any sort of like sleepers that we haven't talked about? I guess like things that maybe applied to you but weren't necessarily great games. Like I don't know. We didn't talk about Sonic Generations.
That's true.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a game of a generation in any capacity, really.
Best Sonic game of the generation?
Yeah, probably.
Better than Sonic Colors.
Probably.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
because
But
Well,
maybe
yeah.
it might not be better than some of the like Rush Adventure though.
There you go.
Oh, I think I put Generations ahead of Rush Adventure. I know Rush Adventure probably holds you for longer, but I don't know. Generations is pretty much the it's the manual for how to make a Sonic game, a modern Sonic game almost.
Theoretically, the only thing that could beat Team Fortress 2 for PC would be Minecraft.
That's true.
In general terms. 'Cause
Yeah.
Minecraft is just like
Yeah, that makes sense.
the other huge, ridiculous PC game.
Yeah,
TF2 and Minecraft, yeah.
Minecraft probably had the bigger deal. Was the bigger deal
Is the bigger deal.
for gaming in general.
Hmm.
But if you really want to talk Minecraft, you should consider it multi-platform, maybe, because of its Xbox and Pocket editions.
Yeah, the 360 version was probably better in some ways.
And the
For
upcoming
just
One
being
version.
like complete.
Yeah, and the upcoming One version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many more.
Yeah, it's been really, really interesting. Well, I think this generation definitely changed things in ways that we can never go back from, which you may not have been able to say about any previous generation. You know, online changed everything.
Mm.
And although I know the original Xbox did that first, but it didn't do it. It didn't necessarily change the world with it, if you know what I mean. It was kind of like, oh, you can play against people online. It's like, well, fine, PCs have been doing that for ages. Fine, you've just caught up. Big whoop.
Yeah.
Um,
Caught up with Counter-Strike.
yeah, but the fact that everything went online in a big way with digital distribution, and even back in PGR3, they were boasting about the fact that you could spectate other races, like with the PGR TV thing, and that the best races of the day or the most interesting stuff would get on PGR TV, and it was
insane.
yeah, it's the generation of some ambition.
It's a generation of almost goodness.
But it does mean that maybe what the legacy they've left us with may not be so hot. Like,
We shall see how it develops. I'm
Because
hoping things will get better.
because of commercial requirements and all that jazz. But I'm sure we'll talk more about that in the goatees.
In the coming goatees, which will be our next podcast, number 100. Thanks for joining us for number 99. Our Games of the Generation.
I'll have a flake with that.
Indeed.
What, if ever 99?
Yeah, I think they always have with flakes, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
99 is the flake.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, I'm just asking for 2 flakes.